2 and 3 from word numbers to digits. If I change the number conversion trigger from N to G and write the same thing, you'll notice the generic number conversion trigger only affects one number. The 2 and the 3 were left as words, following my normal rules that numbers from 1 through 10 should be written out.
You understand that? You understand what they're saying there? You kind of have to be careful there of how you define it. And that's what he's saying. Whether it's the N or whether it's the G. Okay?
So the N is
it's going to have the numbers written out. And the G is going to have the first one, but the other two are going to be written out. Okay?
This tutorial includes a short document to give you some useful tips for creating dictionary entries. And it gives good examples of different types of number conversion triggers and a brief explanation for why each trigger is used with each example. So be sure to check out the documentation.
Any questions?
He's so smart.
They probably need to be printed out.
He's so smart.
Well, he is, but what he's done is he's sat down with, a lot of reporters. So reporters kind of will email him and they're like, this is what we want to do. How do we do it? Well, it doesn't do it yet. So he sits down with the programmers and they figure out how to do it. And to figure out how to do all of this stuff, it's amazing. It's nothing short of amazing. Because once you start learning how to write this stuff, it's going to be so much easier. Your writing is going to be so much cleaner and it's going to be so much easier to write. With these little shortcuts that you don't have to go a long way around. But even still, there's always backups. With the AutoMagic keys, it always kind of knows what you're kind of going to do with number conversions and stuff like that. So it's already guessing what you're going to do. But it's pretty neat.
Your dictionary probably includes many measurement words like mile. For Eclipse, these imply a number conversion. We drove 1 mile further. It was a 124-mile trip. In my user settings, I've asked Eclipse to force measurements to digits. So the word mile forced the written out number 1 into digits. And when the singular measurement mile was preceded by a number other than 1, Eclipse automatically inserted the hyphen for me. Why is that? In the meta dictionary that is automatically created for you when you install Eclipse, mile is set up as a singular measurement. And miles is set up as a plural measurement. There are many such words that are in your meta dictionary, and you can modify these words, remove the ones you don't need, or add others to support the work that you do. So if you come across words that Eclipse does not yet recognize as measurement, you could go to the programming section of your user settings and open the meta dictionary. Then highlight a set of measurement words and copy them, paste them into a new line, and change the text to the new measurement words you need. When you press OK to close the meta dictionary, you'll be all set up. The automatic hyphenation that we've seen can be very convenient, but consider this example. We drove 123 mile, and then I'll add my suffix s. You see that by the time the suffix s attached, Eclipse already thought that the singular measurement mile was preceded by a number greater than 1, and so the hyphen had already been inserted automatically. Fortunately, there's an easy way to define this so that we don't lose the convenience of the automatic hyphenation. Yet we are able to write mile and then the S or Z stroke for the plural. Simply create a dictionary entry where these strokes are defined as the plural measurement miles. We drove 123 miles. With that entry in my dictionary, it translates correctly. Your dictionary may also include phrases like miles per hour, and here you want the measurement word to work its magic. So separate the measurement word from the ordinary words in the phrase.
use the braces to do this.
Let's see what a difference that makes. He drove 9 miles per hour. In this first example, miles is not being understood as a unit of measure in itself. I'll press the Enter key to change this entry, and I'll get rid of the space between miles and per and replace it with braces. Now I'll write the same steno. He drove 9 miles per hour. Now miles is acting as a plural measurement, and so it's forcing the word number 9 to be a digit. In other words,
You see what it's doing there? By putting that bracket, it knows to change it to a number. By putting that bracket,
So should we have squigglies in between miles and per?
no. It was just after the number in miles, I believe, is where he did it.
now I'll write the same steno. He drove
And it was in between miles per hour.
So is that
It
what
was.
we need to have in our dictionary?
Yeah. With no space. So it's just a bracket, closed bracket.
And that's not
Per
going to
hour.
harm anything.
It just knows that when you're using a number before miles per hour, it's going to know to change whatever number it is into the number, into the number instead of the word. So it knows to do it that
So
way.
miles per gallon.
So it's not going to matter if, like say, I already stroke it out in numbers. So I'm going to have 9 miles per hour. It's not going to do anything. But if you do 9, N-I-N-E, miles per hour, then it's going to know to change it to a number.
So miles per gallon, miles an hour, all that needs to have.
The bracket.
9 miles per hour. Now, miles is acting as a plural measurement, and so it's forcing the word number 9 to be a digit. In other words, force measurements to digits is now kicking in.
This tutorial also includes several dictionary building kits, including one for units of measure, so be sure to take a look at that.
Any questions?
In English, AM, PM, and o'clock are time words, and they trigger a time conversion for eclipse. But you should also have in your dictionary entries that force a time conversion. Let's see some examples. You can use whatever steno you want, but it should be defined as capital T surrounded by braces. You might want to use the word time, but with an asterisk in that steno stroke. If you already have a colon stroke and you only use it when you're writing time, you could redefine it so that instead of consisting of a delete space symbol, a colon, and another delete space symbol, it would simply be the capital T surrounded by braces. Remember that to get into an entry to redefine it, simply highlight it and press the Enter key. In order to avoid having to use additional steno strokes for a time conversion trigger, you may have the habit of writing a number bar entry, perhaps with the asterisk, or a letter, such as U, and if so, simply define it as a digit with the time conversion trigger, capital T, surrounded by braces. One of the advantages of a time conversion trigger is that you can write it at any point in the number. So if I start to write at 4:32, and AM, PM, o'clock is not said, but I realize time is being spoken of, I could write my time stroke at the very end of the number, and it would not be too late. Of course, if I have the habit of writing a colon stroke in the middle of the time number, I could continue to do so. In fact, if my colon stroke is really simply defined as a time conversion trigger, I could even write it at the very end of the time number, and it would still work perfectly. So this is another way in which using the Eclipse number conversion features does not take away your control over number formatting, it actually increases it. You can write the whole number and then at the very end, use a number conversion trigger, if one is even necessary. Of course, if this number had been followed by AM or PM, a number conversion trigger would not even have been necessary. O'clock is a time trigger for Eclipse, just as AM and PM are. By default, Eclipse will take the number that precedes o'clock and it will convert it, following your rules for time numbers. Well, for some people, this 5:00 o'clock would be equivalent to saying 5 o'clock o'clock. But you can get the translation that you want by fine-tuning your dictionary. If you want the number that precedes o'clock to be a time number, you can simply have an entry for your dictionary that's defined as o'clock all by itself or as part of a composite entry. So in this example, if I write 5 and K in the same stroke, I want Eclipse to turn the 5 into a time number and then insert the word o'clock. The braces separate this one entry into 2 steps. If you don't want o'clock to function as a time word, but you do want the preceding number to always be a digit, then you could surround o'clock with braces. Then it would no longer be considered a magic word. And of course, to force digits, the generic number conversion trigger would be perfect. So brace, #, capital G, and a closing brace.
Do you understand what it's saying there? It's pretty neat. But you have to know how to define it, because if not, then it's really gonna mess it up, and you're gonna have 5:00 o'clock, and like he said, it's like saying 5 o'clock, and you don't want it to do that. So I mean, it's really neat. That's why I'm saying, go back and do these things, guys. Go back and do it, because even if you have to go back on the wiki and look at these things again, have your computer out. And if you can, and you have, like a desk computer at home, go onto the wiki on your desk computer and have your laptop out where you can kind of mess with it. All you do is press the space bar and it stops it. It should stop and if it doesn't, then, just go up there and press pause or whatever, and then kind of mess around with it a little bit. Don't not do this. I hate to use a double negative, but do this stuff. Do it. Mess around with it. So this way you know how to do it and mess around with it. I'm telling you, it's only going to help you guys. It's only going to help you, especially with time, money, even the, miles per hour, stuff like that. So, definitely work with it. Okay. I think we're going to end right there, guys. We're gonna come back with dates next week. And the reason, huh? What did you say?
We bring our dates.
Well, yeah. Bring a date, and we'll do hyphens, slashes.
Sounds sexy.
But I want you guys to use this stuff, so